Live. Welcome back to another RacerX Wednesday, guys. A little bit of a weird deal trying to get this live started tonight. So I'm actually going to put you guys right up here. And we are officially live. So do me a big, huge favor, guys. When you log into the live tonight, please let me know that you're in the building. And they always change the way that we do these live. So bear with me one second, guys, while I put you up here. There we go. All right, guys. So RacerX Wednesday is returning after like 2 months of not being with you guys, doing lives. And tonight we'll get another live in. So appreciate you guys joining me. Let me know when you guys are jumping into the live, and also hit thumbs up on your way in to let everybody know that we are live tonight. This thing actually started, I didn't want it to start so quickly, but it did. And that's the joy of doing live stuff, guys. That's the way it goes. So anyway, like I said, guys, let me know when you're jumping in. Let me know who's here. I'm going to check the comments here in just 1 second. And they're relatively straight. Got a lot of stuff to cover tonight, guys. So let me bring you guys up down here, and then we'll go from there. So pull you guys' comments up. Now, I got a lot of stuff to cover tonight, guys. We've already got 45 people in the live. It's been November 20th. So over 2 months since I have talked to you guys live. So a lot of stuff to cover with you guys tonight. I want to talk a little bit about what actually happened with Dodge out in Arizona, because I feel like there are a lot of misconceptions, and I want to give you my honest thoughts and tell you the truth about a couple of things when it comes to the new Charger Daytona. So just want to kind of get some things off of my chest here. Guys, I don't know why they make us do vertical orientation when it comes to lives, but that's what they do. But I've got a whole list of stuff here that I want to talk to you guys about. Been thinking about a lot of different things. I have not put out a lot of videos, so I was going to talk to you guys about something else tonight. But do me a big, gigantic favor. Already, like 65 people in. Hit thumbs up on your way in the door, guys. And that will let everybody know that we are actually live. So let me say hi to a few people really quick. Bear with me here, guys. Let's see. It doesn't look like my mouse is wanting to work either. Let's see here. All right. We'll just use this. Bear with me here, guys. Oh, this isn't working either. So, all right. Here we go. All right. So who do we have in the building tonight? We have, oh, wow. Somebody busted in. Aaron with a super chat. Thanks, buddy. He says, thanks for the video for my granddaughter Mint the World, and I appreciate it. Yes. So Aaron asked me to make a special video for his granddaughter. And I did. It was very quick. But apparently it made her day. She's only like, I think like 4 or 5 years old. Am I right, Aaron? And anyway, so I sent that over for her. He watches all of my videos with her. And she thought it was exceptional that I was speaking to her and did a special video for her on her birthday. And that made my day, Aaron. So I was absolutely more than happy to do it. Thank you for the super chat. Thank you for your support as always. Super cool to see that. I absolutely love that, guys. So let me jump down here really quick and see who else we've got in the building. So who else we got? We have, let's see here. Guys, they have really changed up the way that they do. My page keeps freezing. They've changed up a lot of the way they do the lives, and it's been a couple of months. I swear, every time I pop back in, it's different. Definitely not you is here. Good to see you, buddy. James Photos, good to see you, my friend from New York. P. Alley says, good day. Hey, RacerX, my man, Sovereign Knight, of course, in the building. Supermod. The I Love says hello. The Texan is here. Good to see you. Sonic Racing is here. Drag Van, how's it going, RacerX? Good, buddy. Thank you very much. My man Greg Anderson's in the building. Let's see here. Chivos Adventures. Am I seeing that right? Let's see. What else do we got here? What is that? The Dragon of Dalzell. I'm not sure what that one is. What's up from South Carolina? Harriet the Hellcat. I love that one. Evening. What's up, X family, says my man Aaron. Dean is here. Good to see you. Let's see. Ham Salad 2. Hello from NC. I love that. Eric Taylor's here. Good to see you, buddy. Let's see here. Who else we got in the building? The Texan. I love it. Let's see. We got all night, he says. Well, maybe not everybody, but definitely want to get some things in tonight here, guys. For whatever reason, my this thing just continues to want to log out on me. So I guess I'm just going to log out, and we'll see what happens. My pages are freezing on me here, guys. So at any rate, let's see. From South Delaware, let's see. Somebody saying, Jonathan saying hi. Who else we got? Patio Henry's in the house. Juan, thank you guys for joining. 126 people on. Hopefully, we'll continue to build. Guys, only 31 thumbs up. I really do want you guys to hit thumbs up on the way in for me. I would really, really appreciate it. It does help the live. I know it seems like weird to ask for that, but for some reason, when you get a lot of thumbs up, it lets people know that you are live, and it does help the channel. So, guys, please grab the thumbs up for me on your way in. Now, I will go ahead and while this page here is super frozen, I'm going to go ahead and reload it and see if I can get my comments back up. And there it goes. So it's just going to take 1 second here, guys. So I'll see who else is coming because I want to be able to read your comments. But I do want to talk just really briefly while we're getting in here about what actually happened at Dodge, because I'm going to get a few things off of my chest tonight because, I don't know. I'm going to start from the beginning on this whole thing so everybody understands holistically kind of what my position is in all of this. Because I feel like the Charger Daytona is one of the most hated cars like ever made. It gets the most hate really of any car. Maybe the Cybertruck, but then again, there are some people that love the Cybertruck. Cybertruck gets a lot of hate. I don't know if anything gets the amount of hate that the Charger Daytona gets. Yes, it is very different. No, I'm not an EV guy. But a while back, I'm just going to kind of tell you guys everything that happened. A while back, I sent a note over to Tim Kuniskis back when he was over both Ram and Dodge, and I said, I already knew kind of what was coming down the pipe from, for that car. And I basically said, hey, I would still, even though I'm not an EV guy, I would still love an opportunity to come and actually test out the car and give people my honest thoughts about the car. And Tim responded, and I actually have the email saved. It's back all the way from March. He copied in Matt, who at the time I didn't know Matt was taking over for him. And Matt said, look, this is a great idea. Obviously, it took them a long time to put all this together, like 6-7 months to put everything together. And then it was a little bit weird, and I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I'm gonna be honest about everything tonight, guys. And I always try to be honest with you guys. But I got a little bit upset because finally, after all this time, I kept talking to some of the folks from Dodge. I'm not going to name any other names or whatever, but I was like, hey, are we going to do this event or not? Because Tim said it was a great idea. Matt said he approved it. So I was kind of waiting. I was like, I still want to go drive the thing. It's different. Something Dodge is doing. I want an opportunity to drive it. And then when I finally got the invite, I noticed there were already guys putting out videos that they were in Arizona driving the car. And it did make me a little bit upset because I was initially like as far as I know, I was like the first person to ever suggest it. But apparently they did 4 waves of influencers up there to Radford in Chandler, Arizona, which is a really cool driving school. If you guys, I've actually been there a couple of times. If you guys haven't been, I highly suggest it. Those guys are amazing, great drivers, a lot of fun. And I've worked with a lot of those guys for quite some time. And so anyway, it was great to go out there, but I was a little bit miffed because in YouTube, if you're not one of the first ones, it's like, oh, well, they already did it. They already did it. And they put all these, the very first people that get to go kind of get to put all of these, they get to put everything out first. And then everything else is just kind of, and then there was this, if that makes any sense. And YouTube, if you're not first, you're last. That is the way it goes. Half the time I'll think about putting out a video, somebody else will put out the exact video that I wanted to put out, and I just don't bother. And so that's kind of where, because it kills the video. So that is kind of one of the frustrating things about YouTube. But I still decided to go, and to be honest, guys, I had a really good time. And a lot of the stuff that happened behind the scenes, which is what I'm going to tell you guys about tonight, is stuff that I didn't show you in video, stuff that most people didn't show you in video. So I'm just going to walk you through everything that kind of happened. Dodge did pay our way out there, and I know that they were pretty selective with who they asked to go out there. And I've always had a channel where I try to be objective and I try to be fair, and if there's some stuff I don't like, I'll tell you. If there's some stuff I do like, I'll tell you. But I try not to go in with any preconceived notions of, I absolutely love this, I absolutely hate this. I'm just going to accept it for what it is, see about it. But Dodge, first off, kudos to them because they put on a great event. And just about everybody, not just about, literally everybody that I went to the event with thought Dodge knocked it out of the park with their planning, how they moved people around, the venue, all that kind of stuff. And one of the things that miffed me a little bit, and I've seen videos out there about it, was like, oh, Dodge basically gave these people a big party and put them up in a really nice hotel. And our hotel was really nice, guys, so that they would say nice things about the car. I don't understand that. Okay. First off, if you're going to do an event and you're going to do it right and you're going to invite media from all over the country and some people from Canada and elsewhere, I think there were some journalists from like Germany, and so they had people from all over the place, and really big channels all the way down to channels that were relatively small. It's all relative, right? Um, but why would you put them, it's like, yes, we're going to bring you in and we're going to make you fly, Spirit, and then we're going to put you in a Motel 6 because, it is one of the stupidest things I have ever heard in my life. Why would you not try and at least make it nice for people to fly in? That doesn't mean you're trying to, make them say anything they don't want to say. Uh, to me, that is an asinine thing to do. Like, why would you not try and make the event as best you can? It'd be like, no, you know what? No, we're going to bring you in. We're going to fly you on the cheapest airline, put you in the crappiest car we can find. Then we're going to put you up in just an awful hotel room and make your experience absolutely terrible. We're not going to pay for any of your food. No, you're going to try and make the event nice. And that's what they did. And I know that Dodge did so much planning to make this event go. Now, did they at any point ever say, listen, you guys, we're doing all this for you, and now we expect you to say nothing but nice things about this car? Absolutely not. Not at all. They wanted people's honest opinion, and Matt McAleer said that. So, kind of in the way that it worked for me, guys, they flew me in on a Thursday. I had a late flight. I'm in Tampa, guys. I flew all the way across the country. It's a 5-hour flight out there. They had somebody pick me up at the airport. They had a company they contracted. They were great. They picked us up at the airport. They had a Grand Wagoneer that they put us in, and that car was awesome. If you guys have ever been in a Grand Wagoneer, the fully decked out ones, the $120,000 ones, they're super nice. Anyway, but they had several influencers that they would kind of come in waves. They would pick us up, take us to the hotel. The rooms, basically we were already checked in. You just go check in, give them your name, get your room key, off you go. So that's basically, what I did. I ended up getting in super late, like 10 o'clock by the time I got to my room. I was kind of hungry. I went downstairs, grabbed a couple snacks, and then I just literally went to bed. Didn't see any other influencers, during the day or whatever. Watching from the toilet. I love it. Thank you for the super chat. I don't know I don't know if I like that or not, but anyway, appreciate it. So the next day I had to get up really early. This was a quick turnaround for me, guys, and they had an all-day deal planned for us. And they had a really nice breakfast buffet set up for us. I sat down with a bunch of the guy from Hemmings, super nice guy. Demonology was down there, a bunch of guys. We were down there. We enjoyed a nice breakfast, and then after that, they put us in those Grand Wagoneers. They brought in 5 of them for all the influencers. Like I said, there were 4 waves of about the same amount of people. We had Goldberg in our wave. We had a bunch of cool folks with our group. Let's see, did you have to bunk with Demonology? No, we all had our own rooms, and our rooms were really nice. Like I said, I got kind of miffed when I saw people like, oh, well, they purposely, did all this really nice stuff for these people, just so they would say nice things about the car, guys. That doesn't make any sense. If you're going to do an event, do it right. And I give kudos to Dodge for doing it right. You know what I mean? If I was going to put on an event, why would I purposely not try to make it nice? They spent a lot of money trying to get everybody in so that they could give their honest opinions about the car. And so like I said, I feel like they did a really good job. So in the morning after they shoveled us all to the Radford School, it took about 30 minutes. We all got there. We were riding like 6 or 7 deep in these Wagoneers. They got out. They had chairs set up for us, and they had a little presentation there for us. Matt McAleer spoke. The designer of the exterior of the car, and the guy that ran the team, and then also the designer of the interior of the car. And they gave a little like 10-minute talk about what inspired their design and what inspired the different things on the car. And that was actually really neat. These people worked very, very hard on the design of the car. And so when you get to experience something like this, it feels a little different to you because you can feel how much work went into it. Now, I'm not going to say logistically everything worked out perfect. We all know that the car was delayed and there were other things going on with the car. But the design team, both the interior and exterior design team, lots of little cues from like the car from the 60s, tons of them. And they did lots of little things that the normal person wouldn't see. And so I know they worked really, really hard on it. I know the car gets bashed all the time, but that was actually really, really cool. And then after Matt McAleer spoke, then we had an opportunity to go out. They assigned two of us in each car. They purposely made sure that I was one of the guys that had one of the scat packs. So they had both RTs and scat packs. So they took here's the scope of it, guys. I'm trying to give you guys all the behind the scenes details. Um, they brought in 35 of these cars, the brand new cars. Some RTs, some scat packs. They wanted to make sure Demonology and I both had we had a scat pack. Obviously, we rode together. We decided to do that, but they did pair us up. And then what they had us do, they plugged in they plugged the destination, which is like on the top of a mountain, which was really cool. It's like a 45-minute drive. So we had some highway driving, and then of course we had some mountain driving and all that kind of stuff. And they just said, go have fun, and we'll see you at the top. And so basically, one driver, I was the first one to drive with Demonology in the passenger seat. Some of you guys saw that video. Had a lot of fun with it. Did some roll stuff with it, and then took it on the mountain road. And then we switched off. Demonology drove it all the way back down to Radford. Had a really nice long drive. And guys, I will say for everything I said in my video about the car, I feel like is true. And I wasn't overly critical about the car. And I feel like we live in a culture right now where it's just so in vogue to be negative about everything. Like this is like something you're supposed to hate. And I tried to go into it not hating the car. And I have driven lots of other EVs, guys. I've driven the Hummers and the Plaids and the Lucids and all that. I've driven all of them. And guys, I didn't hate the car. And what's so funny to me is that so many people got so mad because I didn't just bash the car from the very millisecond I opened my mouth to the very millisecond I closed my mouth and ended the video. And some people were legitimately like, how in the world did you not just tear that car absolutely apart? This. And people just, and these are people that have never driven it, never sat inside of it, never seen one. And yet they hate it so much, the very notion of it. And I decided not to do that. And here's why. When I went to drive the Supra, for example, not an import guy really. I didn't really like the exterior design of the car. There was several things about the car. I'm like, it's not an 8-cylinder. Like, what's to like? And then I went and drove the Supra. And you know what? I really, really liked it. Matter of fact, if it was a little cheaper, I probably would have bought one because it was that much fun to drive. And I smiled ear to ear driving the Supra around. And I did a little review of it. A lot of you guys didn't watch it because it's not American V8 muscle, whatever. It's not my niche thing, but I love driving that car. And the car just grew on me and I liked it. And I don't have any shame in saying it's a cool car. It's fun to drive. It's different. And there have been a lot of cars that have really surprised me with just how enjoyable they are to drive. Like some people say like a Miata is just an absolute piece of trash car. You know what? The number one road course car in the world is a Miata. And if you ever take one to a road course, they are a lot of fun to drive. They're not the most powerful thing. Some people don't like the looks of them. Everybody's entitled to their opinion. But I do think it's pretty absurd when people get legitimately mad because you don't just trash every single thing about it. And so anyway, guys, I'll kind of come back to that. Like I said, this is me just talking about a lot of different things tonight. I thank you for the super chat there, my man Drag Van. On the last day Irwindale was open, the van ran 781. Nice, buddy. Let's see, didn't get a second run with the Draggy. Better tune 753 on a 250 shot. That is a moving ice cream van, buddy. I love it. Thank you for the super chat. But at any rate, so guys, we basically did the mountain drive. Then we came back and we kind of had free reign to different areas. So I was one of the first people over to do the drag thing. They closed down the drag strip because they were like ripping it up. And some people actually had access to the drag strip before that. But I took the scat pack over there and we ripped it down like one of the back straights, which was more like an 1/8 mile, and you had to like step on it. And when you went to hit the brakes, you could really feel how much the car weighed. During the acceleration, it accelerated pretty fast. It's not plaid fast, but you can literally see the smoke coming off the front tires when it accelerated. So it's not slow. And, it's just one of those things that, like, I think people have expectations, and I'm going to cover all of the different thoughts around why people hate this car and just kind of give you my thoughts about a lot of that. Aaron says, you're honest and open minded. Good for you. We all appreciate it. Well, I appreciate that, buddy. Not everybody does appreciate that. Some people they're literally mad that I don't just bash the car. And like I said, I feel like there are some things about the car that I don't necessarily like. There's also some things I really like about the car. Um, but basically, I went over, I did the drag strip thing. I was the very first one to kind of drag the car down this little straightaway. And you really had to step on the brakes at the end of it because the car wanted to hop a little sideways or whatever. Um, but the car did okay. And then I went over and I actually did some of the drift stuff. You guys might have seen that. Trying to drift an all-wheel drive, 5,000-pound behemoth muscle car is really hard to do. I'm really good at drifting a Hellcat, guys, at a Scat Pack or whatever. Pretty darn good at drifting a Mustang. Not very good at drifting a big old heavy EV. I think I could have got it had I had more time. Did you ever get mean mugs from driving your cars? No, not typically. I don't know if that's a question about any of the cars or the Charger itself. The interaction that Demonology and I got driving that car around was overwhelmingly positive. Maybe it's because people hadn't seen it. Maybe it's because it's different. Maybe because it's an EV that makes sound. Multiple people, as much as people hate on the sound of the car, which you can turn off, by the way, they everybody seemed to really like the sound of it, the people that pulled up next to it. And we actually got some video of that, but that's not only all the video we got. There's some other stuff in there where people literally pulled up and were like, dude, that thing sounds really cool. And I was like, I would not have expected that. But a lot of people didn't even believe it was an EV. So to me, my trained ear, yes, I knew it was an EV. It doesn't sound like a V8, but I actually liked the sound coming out of the back. I don't care what anybody says about it. Everybody says, it's a piece of trash and da, 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 da. That's because people just want to hate. That's literally all they want to do is they just want to hate. These are people that once again, have never driven it, never sat inside of one, don't really know a whole lot about it. It just drives me nuts. And I'm sorry, but if you've never driven it, never sat inside it, I don't really feel like you're qualified to talk about it. I'm somebody that's owned many, many 1,000+ horsepower cars. So, in my opinion, if you go drive it first and then you just hate it, and you don't go in with preconceived notions, that's different. But to me, that's just being like really closed-minded. I'm not telling you guys to go buy one. I'm just telling you that I didn't hate it. When I drove the car around, there were some things that were really enjoyable about driving it. Like I said, I want to tackle some of that stuff here in a minute, but basically the rest of the experience, I did the drifting thing. The Radford guys are amazing. They were kind of coaching me through how different it is. You got the Scandinavian flick doesn't really work the same way on that car. That's my normal kind of technique when it comes to drifting. It's just a really heavy car, and so it definitely felt different in the drift. Then I took it out on a road course, and I gave Herman some Demonology. I gave him some some flack about it because I was right up on the instructor's butt, and we were rolling, and his instructor had to keep slowing down because Demonology was back there just chilling. And anyway, I gave him a little grief about it, but everybody kind of goes at their own pace and has a good time. I really like road course racing. And here's one of the big takeaways on this car that you didn't hear a lot of people talk about, but there's not a single person that reviewed this car, if you go back and look, that didn't say the suspension on the car is actually really good. Now, I do have a new video coming out about the car tomorrow, so just wait and see. I hope I can get it out tomorrow. We'll see. I still got some editing to do on it. But at any rate, I won't go into too much detail about all that. I'm going to grab you super chats here in 1 second, guys. But the suspension on that car going up the mountain roads and going across the road course, that's where you really feel it. I don't know what they did with the suspension of this, but the suspension on it is really good. For a car that weighs that much, it should have a lot of roll. It literally doesn't roll. You'll hear it in the video, in Demonology's video. You hear it in my video. You hear it, Rich Rebuilds talked about it. There are multiple people that talked about the suspension of the car. So that is something that Dodge really nailed. My biggest thing on the car was just the cost, and you guys know that. I mean, the car I was driving around was 85 grand. Okay, so I want to jump back into the thought process around that here in a minute, but it's too expensive, and um, I really wish the car cost less money. I mean, the RT for me almost is even harder to swallow because it's all the same components in the car that the Scat Pack has. Basically, yeah, the Scat Pack might have bigger brakes depending on what package you go with or whatever, but it is, I don't know, it's just one of those things that, like, the RT, you get way less horsepower, and all it is software. It's literally just software. You don't really, the motors are the same. It's not like you have, it's not like a triple motor versus a dual motor, whatever. It literally, it's the same. It's just they quiet the RT down with software. So that car is equally capable of making Scat Pack power. It just it doesn't. So that really rubs a lot of people the wrong way. So I'm going to grab a couple of super chats here, guys, and then I want to talk about the end, and then I want to jump into a couple other objections that I have about some of the things that people said. Let's see here. James Mace, I really like it and want one. See, so we'll see how bad James gets crucified for saying he likes the car. Because, like I said, Lord forbid I say anything positive at all about the car, or I'm being paid by Dodge, or I'm a simp for Dodge, or I'm a sellout. Okay, Dodge paid me zero. Let's be clear about that. They paid me nothing. I got to go to Arizona, been there before. I just wanted to drive the car and give you guys my honest opinion. And Dodge did a really good job with the event. I'm not going to lie. I can't find anything about the event itself that I don't feel like Dodge didn't do a good job. Um, which, if I was running an event, I would want to do a good job too. Like I said, why would they purposely do a bad job? I don't know, guys. I don't know. But anyway, let's see. Grin says, to be honest, if they can make it sound cammed, I might get it. So that's the thing. When geez, I have like all these different things I'm thinking about in my head. Let's see. How long was it to charge, and what was the range like? So the range wasn't great, like 220 miles. The way I was driving it, it was less. Demonology got way better mileage than I did. I'm a little bit more aggressive with it. Um, Good question. We didn't charge them. I mean, they were already charged at the beginning of the day, so they weren't charging them during the day. Let's see here. What else? I think I got all the super chats, guys. But basically, after we did the road course racing, the drifting, the drag racing, all that kind of stuff, at that point, I actually got free reign of the car to just drive it back to the hotel, and I had as much time as I wanted with the car. I drove the car for 2 hours. It was like a 45-minute drive, but I took lots of detours in the car. People were staring at it. I stopped at the gas station when I came out. There were people all the way around it. This is the most hated car out there, the car that sucks, the car everybody hates. There were people all around it checking it out. Like I said, it's just different. You don't see a lot of them on the road. But when I was driving out there on that desert road, if any of you guys have ever been to Phoenix, it's beautiful out there. You get these mountains kind of out in the distance, and it was the sun was starting to come down, and I just had my music on, and I was just cruising all by myself down this desert road, and I was thoroughly enjoying the car. And when it's like any EV, like when you go to stab it, it just sucks you to the seat really hard. And my driving experience of the car, despite what all these other people who all they want to do is just talk negative, 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 negative. It doesn't do this. It doesn't do this. It's this bad. It's this bad. Like, I enjoyed it. I don't care what anybody says. That's my personal feeling on it. I enjoyed driving it down the desert road and looking at that nice clear panel glass above me. The interior of that car, guys, is really nice. I really like the interior of the car. I've heard people say they don't like the interior. I don't know why, because even when I go get in my 170, which I love that car, fast, like, tries to kill you, it feels like. But the interior of the new car feels way nicer, just in every way, from a lighting perspective, everything about it. You just have to go sit in one to see what I mean. It just feels way more updated, and I really feel like the interior design of that car, they did a good job with it. I commended him. We sat and talked for like an hour, just he and I did, about all the different stuff that he did. And when you're sitting in it, It's a nice interior. I like it, and I thoroughly enjoyed that drive, guys. I really did. So on the way back to the hotel, they had somebody there to pick up the car from me, give it back in the morning. They had somebody to shovel me to the airport, and I think I went with one other guy who was going back to California, and they just did a really good job with the event, guys. Like I said, I know I've told you several times, but I thoroughly enjoyed my trip out there because I almost didn't go. Um, but I was glad that I did. I was glad I got to see the car. And now I want to talk a little bit about, the biggest thing. Would I buy one? Would I buy an $85,000 electric scat pack that makes 670 horsepower? No, I wouldn't. But that doesn't mean I didn't like the car. So, I've heard people now here. I'm going to talk about all the objections. I'll get to your super chats here in 1 second. So, I've seen all these different videos about how many people just hate the car for XYZ reasons. One of them, somebody was like, dude, you are an absolute sellout. All the cars, like they laid over. There was this huge delay. You're sitting there lying about it. Like, guys, come on, get real. Like, grow up. Literally grow up. There was no delay whatsoever in the car I was driving. I can't speak for anybody else. I can only speak for myself. There was zero delay and there were zero issues with the car that I drove. End of story. I can't speak for, oh no, Throttle House got it and they said X, Y. I don't care what Throttle House said. I'm not Throttle House. I didn't have that experience. There are an awful lot of publications that try and nitpick things to death. This, and literally, that's all they do. They sit there and they try and find stuff wrong with it. It's not, oh, we like this, like that. No, we found this wrong and this wrong and this wrong, and we thought this was wrong, and we don't like this. And like, I don't know why some people are like that, but it's all about the negativity. And that's just not me. That's not who I am. There were a lot of things I did. It's a big car. It's a heavy car. I talked about it. You can feel it a little bit when you drive it, but is the performance there, at least on the Scat Pack? I didn't even drive the RT version, guys, so I'm going to tell you that right now. And I drove several different Scat Packs, had no issue with any of them, none whatsoever. It was nice. They had heated seats, heated steering wheels, all the stuff you would come to expect. I've heard people say, oh, well, it doesn't have all the same amenities as a Tesla. So here's my big thing with Tesla, okay? And Demonology owns a Tesla. And he said he much prefers the interior of the new Charger. And Demonology is another guy who was reasonably positive about the car. You're talking about two guys that drag race big power cars. And neither one of us had like a huge problem with the car. And a lot of the people that had a huge problem with it weren't necessarily even performance driving people. So I just thought that was kind of weird. I'm not calling anybody out specifically. Everybody's entitled to their opinion. But I just feel like there's so many people that were like negative and down about things that don't make sense. So when you compare it to a Tesla, oh, well, it doesn't even get Model 3 performance. Well, first off, it's a much better, in my opinion, it's a much better looking car than a Model 3 is. I think a Model 3 is very boring. On the inside of a Model 3, it is extremely boring. If you were to go sit inside the Model 3 and then go sit inside the brand new Charger, it is like night and day. The Model 3 is the most mundane, boring car on the inside. It is seats with an iPad. That's what you get. And people are like, oh, I love that. Fine, if you love that. But like, if you want something with more character, the Charger is just better. I don't care what anybody says. It's just better. And like I said, I'm giving you the pros and the cons, but go sit in the Charger and then go sit in a Tesla Model 3. Go sit in a Plaid. It's boring on the inside. It just is. I'm not taking away from the performance of a Plaid. The Plaid is by far the faster car, like way faster. I mean, like I said, I've raced many Plaids. It sucks to race them. Those things are insultingly fast. The Plaid pisses me off. But the Plaid is boring to sit in, and it is pretty boring to drive. I don't care. I mean, that's just the way I feel about it. The Charger, it has a lot more personality to drive. And like I said, a lot of people, they hate the sound of it. Fine, then turn the sound off. Really? Just turn it off. I actually liked the way the car drove with the sound on, personally. I feel like it added a little more character to the driving experience. Does it still drive like an EV? Absolutely. You've got the regenerative braking, so when you let off, you can feel the car almost, you don't even have to use the brakes. It's like one pedal driving. And that's, if you're used to EVs, that's what it is. So the big issue is it a muscle car? Because in my mind, you guys know me, I like to mod cars. That's where a lot of people have an issue with it. They just don't like the principle of it. But I feel the same way about this as I felt about the Ford Mach-E Mustang. One, it should not have been a Mustang. The Charger, I don't know, how do you call that a muscle car? I don't necessarily feel like it's a muscle car. I know Dodge would differ with me, but I don't want to take away from the car. And the Mach-E like GT is actually a pretty nice car to drive. It really is. I just don't like that it's called a Mustang and it doesn't look like a Mustang. But if you take the car in a bubble all by itself and take all that out of play, the car is actually a pretty nice car to drive. That's very much how I feel about this car. It's a good performing car. I love the interior of it. The exterior design is, in my mind, is one of the better looking EVs on the market. It's one of the most unique EVs on the market. It's just too expensive for my liking. But that doesn't mean some of you guys wouldn't like it. I've also heard people say, well, you don't even get autonomous driving modes in this car. It's an EV. What the hell? Like Tesla, $8,000, you get autonomous driving, it drives for you. Okay. Why in the hell are you buying a Dodge if you want autonomous driving? Okay. You're buying a Dodge because you don't want autonomous driving. That's the stupidest argument I think I've ever heard in my life. Okay. That's like buying a Hellcat for fuel economy. I bought the Hellcat because it gets great gas mileage. No, that's not it. So that to me, guys, is just a really stupid argument. I've heard a lot of really stupid arguments about the car. I really have. And then people say, oh, well, these things just brick. I've heard a lot of people say that. You know what I mean? The people that have to find something negative, they're like, oh, well, no, all the cars are bricked. That's not true. Okay. Not a single one of the cars at the event we were at was bricked and didn't work. As far as I know. Like I said, I only know my experience, guys. But everybody wants to look for something wrong. So, guys, to me, I feel like you just have to look at it through a little bit of a different lens. Like, once again, I'm not telling you guys to go buy one. I'm not buying one. But what I would encourage you to do is be a little bit more open-minded and go drive one. And if you do hate it that much, okay, nobody's forcing you to buy one. Dodge isn't paying me a single dime to say any of this. I'm just being open-minded because that's how I am. I'm trying to be objective and I'm trying to give you guys my honest thoughts about the car. But, like from a room perspective, in the back of that car, it's very roomy. I love the glass panel over the top. I really like the aggressive feel in the front of that car. I think they did a fantastic job with the seats. The things I don't like, the range on it, not very good. 220 miles. This is a car that you'd pretty much want to stick around, driving around in the city, stuff like that. I think from a charging perspective, I think there's some things that still have to be worked out there. I don't think you can use the Tesla chargers or anything like that. So from an infrastructure perspective, I think that's a challenge. I've talked to all this stuff, to Kaniskas. All the stuff I'm telling you, and I won't tell you what he said about a lot of it, but at any rate, they know the challenges. But guys, be a little more open-minded. And like I said, I really get so tired of all the hateful, I feel like sometimes the car community can be so toxic. And I don't know why. I really don't. I really don't get it. It's like people they can just be really toxic. It's like you get on these forums sometimes and people have they just get on there to be toxic. And I don't quite understand it. But like anything, guys, I would encourage you to go experience it for yourself and just try it out. And that's all you can do is go try it out. And sometimes, like I said, my Supra is a perfect example, where I didn't really want to like the car, but guess what? I really liked the car. And it was a butt ton of fun to drive. And there have been several cars that I have felt that way about. When I first drove the ZL1 1LE in a manual, I'm like, this is kind of a cool, edgy looking car or whatever. Maybe it's a little too much. I don't know if I really like that smaller blower. And then I drove it. I was like, hell yes, this thing is bad. Still one of my favorite manual cars I've ever driven in terms of stock. It was really, really good. So there's just been so many cars that have surprised me. And then others have been the other way around. The Viper, for example, like the Gen 5 Viper. One of my hero cars, one of my favorite looking cars ever, literally ever. The design team just knocked it out of the park. But when you drive it, I was a little bit underwhelmed with it. I was underwhelmed with the low end torque on it. Oh, what Racer X, it's an 8.3 liter. Da 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 da. Guys, it's the way it's geared. When you sit in a Viper, your legs literally go over this way. Your legs are literally like 45 degrees because of the huge trans and the way that everything is situated in that car. It, I wasn't impressed with it when I drove it. That doesn't mean I don't love the car still, because it's a Viper. But in terms of just drivability and just the way the car made power, I immediately drove the C7 ZR1 right after I drove that, and it wasn't even close. In terms of like when you drive the Viper and then you go drive a C7 with the ZTK package on it, like a ZR1, the ZR1 made that car feel so slow. And so like lumbersome and everything. And that thing was a scalpel to drive. And believe it or not, the two cars weren't that different in price. So, but that doesn't mean I still don't love the Viper, guys. Don't get me wrong. I still love it. But I was a little bit underwhelmed. So you guys have to go experience it. That's all I'm telling you is, kudos, like once again, kudos to Matt and everybody for putting on a really good event. I'm very blessed that I got an opportunity to at least go do it. But guys, I would definitely encourage you, if you're truly a car enthusiast, in my mind, that means you don't just like one little thing. That's just the way I feel about it. Like, you don't just like, oh, I only like this car from this year and this color, and it has to be this. No, like, if you're an automotive enthusiast, like, go try some different stuff. I mean, go try a rotary engine. Go try some other stuff that's out there that you don't always get to drive, and you might be surprised. You might actually like some other stuff. And I'm a guy that's driven just about everything you can imagine, from exotics to imports, American muscle, old school. I feel very blessed that I've had an opportunity to drive so many really neat cars, and each of them brings something different to the table, which I think is one of the things that intrigues me so much about being a performance guy, a performance enthusiast, is that there is that big difference, and you develop an appreciation for all of it. So anyway, guys, I'm just kind of giving you how I feel about it. But a lot of the things that people said that were negative about the car, I don't quite understand the argument. Oh, you can buy a Plaid for 89,000. Then go buy a Plaid. It's not. It's completely different driving experience. Um, I just feel like the Charger has way more character to it. I didn't hate the sound coming out of it. I really didn't. I thought, when you start it up, it has like this space agey sound. I mean, people are like, so stupid. What is Dodge thinking? What a disaster. I've heard all these YouTubers talk about what a freaking disaster it was. Like, okay, why? Okay, you've never driven it. Like, and a lot of the people that did drive it, like I said, there's a lot of people that wanted to just pick it apart for whatever reason. A lot of those reasons didn't make any sense to me. Is it the best car in the world? No. Is it the worst car in the world? Absolutely not. I think they did a lot of things well with the car. Is there room for improvement? Sure. But what's really interesting to me? A lot of people have messaged me here in the past few days, and I realize not very many of these cars have sold, but just in the last few days, several people have messaged me telling me that they either like it or they bought one, which really surprised me. But then it's like, what sort of reception do you get? My experience in the car was very positive. It was very positive. And it's really weird how social media works, because, if all the first people out there all say they hate it and how bad it is, and just so awful and so many different things, that's typically public perception. If people say that they love it and it's getting rave reviews, all of a sudden, oh, well, everybody wants to try it. It's just so weird. But I get it why people struggle, because it's new, it's different. It's not a traditional muscle car. I'm not going to tell you it's a muscle car, because in my mind, you should be able to modify a muscle car. By very definition of a muscle car, I think most people feel like it should be a performance-oriented, gas-powered something that makes exhaust that you can tune, that you can you can put an intake on it. You can put race fuel in it. It isn't that. It just isn't. And Dodge kind of knew that they were going to struggle with this. And this is the exact same thing I said about the Hornet. It's not that the Hornet is bad, and it's not that this car is bad. It really isn't. It's that it struggles with an identity crisis. What I mean by that is like with the Charger, it doesn't really appeal to the EV guys because it's just different than the standard Tesla, or it's different than most of the EVs out there. So they're like, I don't like it. And it doesn't really appeal to the muscle car guys because they're like, look, it's not an 8-cylinder under the hood. It's like, how can I tune it? What if I want to put different fuel in it? Or what if I want to do XYZ? It's stuff people traditionally do to muscle cars. It doesn't sound like my normal muscle car or whatever. So the muscle car guys are kind of turned off by it too. So what segment are they really appealing to? And that's one of the conversations I had with guys like Rich Rebuilds and Demonology and a lot of the other guys that were out there, Goldberg, is it doesn't really appeal to any specific segment, and that's part of the struggle. The Hornet is the same way. The Hornet actually is a really nice driving car. How many of you guys have actually driven it? It gets all the hate, right? But I actually drove the Hornet and really liked it. But once again, would I spend 50 grand on one? Absolutely not. And the other part of it is, that segment doesn't really exist because the soccer mom out there wants Toyota. And because Toyotas go 300,000 miles without, even batting an eye. And because they're relatively inexpensive. And it has 7 cup holders for Johnny and all the crew. That's what that consumer wants. They don't want performance. Soccer mom typically doesn't care about performance. They just don't. And that's the issue with the Hornet. It's geared towards a segment that isn't really there. And your traditional Dodge guy knows that car doesn't really fit in with the brotherhood of muscle. But that doesn't mean the Hornet isn't a nice driving car. Because it is. I actually, like I said, if I had to buy a small SUV, I mean, I would enjoy driving the Hornet. It's not really in my wheelhouse, so to speak. But once again, it's a case of mistaken identity with the Hornet as well. So like I said, it's a decent car. Everybody talks about quality. I want to talk about that in a second, but I don't mind the Hornet. It's just a little bit too pricey, and there's no buyers out there for that car because they're all going to go look at Mazda. They're going to go look at Toyota. They're going to look at those because they're slightly less expensive. They don't care about the horsepower. They don't care that it's darty feeling and fun to drive. They just don't. How many strollers can I put in the back? That's what they care about. That buyer. So anyway, Aaron says, any idea what the big Super Bowl surprise is from Dodge? Hopefully the Chiefs losing. Aaron, brutal. Thank you for the super chat. I'm not rooting for the Chiefs either. I don't like the Eagles traditionally. I'm a Dallas guy. You can imagine how I don't like the Eagles, but I kind of want the Eagles to win. I'm just really tired of the Chiefs, to be honest. That's my personal thought on it. Good stuff. I don't know, to answer your question. I don't know what the big surprise is going to be. Hadn't even thought about it. Grin says, if they made this car to be a muscle, why didn't they at least make it similar in performance to the Model 3? It is similar in performance to the Model 3. The Scat Pack is, but it's more expensive. Let's see here. It is already lacking in range. So from a range perspective, it is less than the Model 3 performance, but not that much. Actually, I'm trying to think what doesn't the Model 3 performance, the performance version gets is it 280, something like that? I can't remember off the top of my head, guys, but it doesn't get the range that a Model 3 performance does. But remember, guys, this car is not about that. Like I said, once again, it's like talking about a Hellcat. Be like, dude, I bought the Hellcat for gas mileage. Then you bought the wrong car. You buy a Dodge because it's fun. That's the way I look at it. I bought that Demon 170 because it gets 4 miles a gallon. That's why I bought it. So if you're looking for a car to do long road trips in, this is not the car for you. That's, to be honest. So Dodge wasn't really as concerned about range, and I think that's the big argument here, right? This is a perfect example. Good question. Thank you for putting this out there, Grin. But and thank you for the super chat. But guys, that's my argument with all the hate out there. Is that, like, this isn't a Tesla. This isn't a mom and pop, go to the store and back, get good range, everything's got to be cheap, autonomous driving. That's not what this car is. That's not the spirit of this. That's not really the spirit of Dodge, if you ask me. If you're looking for that stuff, then go buy the Tesla. The Model 3 is a pretty solid little car. Okay. I actually considered buying one at one point, just as a little daily cruise around, like get back and forth, but I wouldn't buy one for the fun factor. The performance is there. It's just so mundane to drive. I've driven a bunch of them. The Charger is, in my opinion, it is a more fun car to drive. I think it's a more visceral way to drive a car, and that's just my personal feeling on it. The outside of the car, guys, some people love it, some people hate it. I think they actually did a pretty good job. The car is one of those cars that when you stand next to it, it starts to grow on you. So I don't think pictures really do the car that much justice. I think when you see it in person, when you see it at night, it actually looks really cool. It looks very Tron-esque, if you guys know what I mean by that. And it looks kind of space agey. So it's like when you fire it up at night, and it kind of it almost sounds like a spaceship firing up, and then all the lights go across on the thing. It actually looks really cool. So I I thought it was pretty cool, personally. Like I said, I think some of the arguments here don't necessarily make sense to me. Um, I don't know, guys. I think people try and find reasons to hate it. They try and find reasons to nitpick at it because that's just what people do. Um, I don't know, guys. I don't quite get it. Let's see here. I appreciate my mods, guys. You guys do a good job for me. Um, let's see here. Let me look and see who else we've got super chats from. Drop a huge V8 into it. Would you buy one? Um, would I buy one with a Hellcat motor in it? Not for 95 grand. I wouldn't. Would I buy one with a Hellcat motor in it for the same price that the Scat Pack costs? Yeah, all day, 100%. Well, I would actually highly consider buying the six-pack car. If the six-pack car comes out and it is much less money, which supposedly it's going to be, um, then maybe that's something to consider because I actually really like the Hurricane. I know a lot of people talk about the quality of that, guys. I just got some numbers back from Dodge, which I'm not going to share all the little details from you, but this might blow a lot of people's mind because the stigma is out there that the Hurricane is a much more unreliable, unproven, just piece of crap. Well, guess what? For every 1,000 engines produced, when you compare it to the 6.4 Hemi, the 6.4 Hemi has 3 times the issues in terms of having to go in to be serviced, warranted, lifter failure, all that kind of stuff. I think that that's interesting considering the thought that's out there that the Hurricane is absolute junk. A lot of people don't realize that the Hurricane is a more reliable engine per engine produced than the Hemis are that have those things have been produced forever. There are some shortcomings to the Hemi guys, okay, in terms of just being boost friendly and the lifter issues that those things had. I mean, I can actually go down the list of things. That doesn't mean I don't love the Hemi still. And that's the thing, guys. You can nitpick anything to death. You can always try and find reasons not to. But I think sometimes things are blown out of proportion. And I was a little surprised by those numbers considering how many people think the Hurricane is junk and unreliable. But this is coming. I mean, these are cars that have had to go in to be serviced. And it's like when I drove the Grand Wagoneer with the Hurricane in it, drove the Ram as well. But there were several things wrong with that Grand Wagoneer. But the engine was not one of them. The engine was fantastic. So, it was like when I was rolling down the highway, my window got stuck. It wouldn't go back up, $110,000 car. But my engine was flawless. And I could really feel a difference, by the way, when I loaded 93 octane into it, because the dealership, I can tell they didn't do it. And when I loaded 93 into the car, it woke way up on the high output Hurricane. Just so you're aware, I'm sure those knock sensors were going crazy before I put good quality fuel in it. But those Hurricanes are punchy. I like them. So anyway, let me make sure I didn't miss any other things here. Let's see here. Grin says, do you enjoy it more than your Demon? There's really nothing I'm enjoying more than my Demon right now. We're going to get into that here in a minute. Geez, it's 55 minutes in already, guys. But no, let's see here. Aaron says a good portion of the hate comes from the cost. I agree with you. And Aaron, see, that's the perfect thing that I want to talk about. What Aaron just said, that hate is deserved. Um, Dodge fully recognizes that the car is a little bit too much money, which is why I have a video coming out here in the next day or two to address a little bit of that. So I'm not going to go into a lot more detail on cost, but Aaron hits it right on the head. And that was my biggest objection to the car. It wasn't all these little bitty tedious things that everybody wanted to try and nitpick at the car. I honestly, you know, I honestly didn't mind driving the car at all. I thought it was pretty cool. So not an EV guy, but did I enjoy it more than my Demon? No. My Demon will absolutely eat your face when it comes to acceleration, and there's just nothing like that thing. That car is a freaking monster, which I guess that's a good segue. I appreciate it. The Demon, did you guys see the video where I went out and ran that car, and I ran a series of super low nines in decent DA? And I did a wheelie that was like, the wheels were like 2.5 feet off the ground. And I don't know how far I held that wheelie. It was a long way, but it all happened so fast. You don't realize what a monster the thing is until you slow it down and you watch what that car does and the way it squats. And a 1.23 60-foot, guys. I mean, that is a stock 4,300-pound car that did a 1.23 60-foot. We're not talking about a chassis car. We're not talking about a pro mod. But I mean, damn. The car is violent. And honestly, in my mind, the only reason that I didn't get into the eights with the car was just it. I think the wheelie was almost too big because it had to gather on the rebound. And I think if you look at my time slip and you really study it, I was only a half mile off of what Dodge's record was, and about a tenth, but I lost most of it in the 330. And the car actually back halved a little faster than Dodge. So the car was back halving just fine, but I think it was trying to gather it up on the rebound. But guys, I have another event hopefully coming up here in February. It may involve Mr. Drag Times. And if you guys follow his channel, of course, I wasn't able to defeat the Plaid. My new engine, guys, my new engine's much happier. I don't know what else to say. I've told you guys in many of the videos, this new engine, it sounds slightly different than the other one did. And you can feel a slight difference in just the way the car acts with this new engine. So I don't know, and realize, my plugs were regapped. There were lots of little things, but I just got my results back from Blackstone Labs on the car, and Blackstone Labs said my engine is wearing beautifully. And that's the third sample I've sent them, from just changing the oil a lot. And Blackstone Labs gave me like the full, like, dude, your engine's looking great. And I love that. So yeah, if you guys ever need some assurance, that's a great place to go. Go to Blackstone Labs, and you can go to their website. It's like $35. They'll send you a free test kit. When you're changing your oil midstream, you just fill this little container thing up, seal it up, write your name on the top of it, and follow the directions. And for $35, they'll run a full analysis on your oil to tell you if your car is healthy. I mean, they look at all sorts of contaminants. They said that I expected there to be like some E85 kind of in the oil, a little bit of ethanol in the oil. No, they said that it looked really good. So I'm so pleased with this new engine. So that gives me some peace of mind. But I'm hoping to get a run with the Lamborghini Revolto, Brooks, and I think he's going to bring his Plaid. We may get a Lucid in the mix, and there's a really fast Porsche I think he's going to try and bring. We're trying to find a day to get this together, hopefully in the next month, but I want to get it in when the air is good, because in Florida, we only get 2-3 months of really good air. It's not like you guys get up there in the Northeast, man. You guys get some great air, even all the way until like April. You guys have some negative DA, insane air. We don't get that in Florida. We're always going to have high grains here, so it's not like That's the other thing that's so hard about trying to run eights with a stock Demon is that, I haven't even tuned my trans. A lot of guys that you've seen go eights, guys, and this is something I want to mention, they have stuff done to their car. They won't always tell you what it is, but I know for sure. A lot of guys have done trans tunes, and the car is faster with a trans tune because you can make the car go through the traps in fifth instead of sixth, and you can wind the car out. So most of them go to like 68 instead of like 64. So that, believe it or not, that's part of what made Excessive so fast, was it had a really good trans tune that got massaged and just over and over, lots of iterations, lots of tuners, B Mason, guys like that looking at that tune to make that car what it was. Well, the Demon is running on a stock tune, and it's going through the traps in sixth. So, the guys that got into the eights, a lot of them, they did weird things, taking window motors out, taking windshield washer fluid out, putting in titanium bolts, putting little bitty race batteries in the back of them. I know this for sure. A lot of them, they've taken the bumper off and they put lighter bumper supports in. I think, who is it that sells them? There's a company that sells both rear and if you do the rear and the front, it's like 60 pounds. It's a lot. It's like 57 pounds, something like that. So, so a lot of these guys are running with 150 less, 150 pounds less. And that's where you're getting the difference. So, just keep that in mind. And that's racing, guys. That's part of it. You're always going to have, it's like if you do the Legion of Demons thing, some of you guys know all the tricks those guys do. There's lots of little things people do when it comes to racing, but I am just literally racing it the way Dodge had it. And in Florida, where we don't get quite the air that they're running it in, if I was able to get that car into the eights, it would be some sort of feat, but I almost got there. And I'm just really pleased at how the car is running. And I feel like that car, if it's running 9.0s, that car, as long as I do okay on the tree, that car should be right there with the Plaid, maybe beat the Plaid. The Lucid, I'm going to have to tree. I'm going to have to just get out on the Lucid and hope it doesn't run me down. It's trapping 5 mile an hour faster. Those cars run 8.9, 9.0, so you're going to have to get a 10th on the tree somehow and hope he doesn't run you down. But that doesn't mean it's not doable at a 9.0 something. So, I mean, it would be fun. It would be fun to try. The cars, that car is just such a hard one to race. But who knows? But I feel like the Demon can cover the 1,000 horsepower Lambo. I feel like it can cover the Porsche. But we'll just see, guys. I'm trying to put an event together. I hope you guys, would like something like that. But I would love another crack at the Plaid now that I've got more seat time. There's a lot of little bitty things I learned about the Demon, way different than my Hellcat, in terms of what this car likes when it comes to launching, and even little subtle things. Just the way that I do my burnout, I changed it just a little. And it was so weird because it just started working. And I think some of it had to do with some of the sun coming down on the track as well. But the stuff I was doing like the first time out, it really wasn't working. And then some of the things I did, even the last time before that, I tried doing it this previous time, it wasn't working. So sometimes you just have to gauge the track and try some different things. That's part of what makes drag racing. So anyway, guys, definitely looking forward to doing that. I definitely wanted to put that out there. So really quick, guys, there's a few things I want to mention. We still have 166 people on. I haven't got to a lot of comments, guys, because I got on a huge tangent tonight, but I had so much that I wanted to talk about. Please hit thumbs up for me, though, guys. Let's see if we can get to close to 200 thumbs up tonight. I would really like that. I do want to mention just a couple of quick things. If you guys have not seen it, my new hats are available. I figured I would mention it because I ordered a much bigger amount this time, but these are my new ones that say off we go. You guys know I mentioned that in all my videos, right? I say like off we go. Well, that's like my thing, but I do have them in both black and red. I just got them in not too long ago. I waited months for these. They were like stuck in customs and a bunch of other stuff. It's the same company that did my other hats, and a lot of you guys really like those. Except this time I just changed the logo a little bit just to be a little bit different. And this time I got black and red. So, and what's really funny is I kind of figured one would sell way better than the others because I've already had a whole batch of these go out already. And it's like equal. I thought maybe the black one would sell better. And then I'm like, oh, maybe the red, I don't know. But anyway, I've sold like almost identical amounts of both so far. But I still have these in stock, guys. So my Etsy shop has these. And they're $21.99. And like I said, guys, I'm throwing in free keychains with a hat order. So when I get done, on my most recent videos, you'll see links to my Etsy shop where you can buy these hats. Maybe Sovereign Knight can put it in here as well, buddy. But anyway, when we get done, I will put a link to where you can buy those down in the comments section of this video, so that if you guys want to buy one of my hats and support the channel, that would be great. And you guys will see me wear these hats a lot more on my videos and stuff too. I'm just happen to be wearing my other one tonight, so I can show you both colors. But anyway, guys, check out my Etsy shop. You can buy the keychains individually, but I've been just kind of sending them out with my hat orders, and people seem to really like that. And I'll sign the hats for you guys. I really just kind of like doing that. And if you guys don't want me to sign it, let me know. But I'm happy to do it. So anyway, guys, so there's that piece of it. A new video tomorrow on the pricing of the Daytona. So I'm going to see if I can get that out for you guys. Talked about the race with Brooks coming up. Let's see here. Oh, also Dream Giveaway, guys. You guys know I work with Dream Giveaway. Have you guys seen the old school Mopar stuff that they just launched? If you haven't, go check it out. They've got a CUDA and they've got a Roadrunner, and literally two old school pristine muscle cars. So in an area where you have EVs coming, if you like the old school muscle, literally, go check it out, because new for this year, they're giving me 4X entries for all of my subscribers. So if you use my code, last year they gave me 3X entries. I worked with them and I worked with them, and I said, give me something else. So anyway, they're giving me 4X entries to give to you guys, code RacerX. And so go to Dream Giveaway, and it works for all of their stuff. They have a brand new 4GT that is just sick. I actually entered on that. They told me I could enter. There's no reason I can't. I use my own code. But the 4GT is a sick car. Like, I love that car. When you see it in person, you have no idea how good that car looks until you see it in person and see how low and wide that thing is. What thing is sick. Some of you guys have been to Cars and Coffee where you've seen those, but that is like the most expensive giveaway I think they've ever. That one even costs more than the Cadillac giveaway. That was just insane. But they paid a lot of money for that car, and I think just the taxes, they're giving like 120 grand or something just to pay for the taxes on the car. So anyway, use my code RacerX. So I thought I would mention that to you guys. Two amazing things. Oh, and the Challenger giveaway is getting ready to end. So that's about it on that. But the Challenger one I've been telling you guys about for like 9 months, I think there's like 2 weeks from doing the drawing on that. So if you haven't entered to do the super stock and the old school Challenger, that the both of them plumb crazy, make sure you guys do that as well. So yeah, enter my code Dream Giveaway RacerX, 4X entries for this year, and man, I hope one of you guys wins at least one of those things. I would love to do a video with you guys on that. Let's see here. Oh, something else. I'm also considering. So I have a new job, guys. So I thought I would mention that. Geez, I didn't got very many of your comments. I'm so sorry, guys, but. I have a new job, started a couple weeks ago, which is why I haven't been posting very much. Anytime you get a new job, you got a lot of stuff to work out. So I'm hoping I can start posting a lot more here in the next few weeks. Like I said, we've got an event. I have some other ideas for videos. I just have to kind of, it's a balancing act. But now that I have a new job, it's good, because I feel like now I might be in a better position to get something else for the channel, because I feel like I was a little bit one-dimensional with just the Demon. Not that you guys don't love the Demon content, and I love doing it, but I feel like maybe I need something else for the channel, and I've got a couple ideas in mind, so stay tuned. You guys might see me with something else here in the relatively near future to maybe start doing a little bit of build and maybe have some fun with. I've got a couple directions I might go on that. So it's things are looking okay from that perspective, which is cool. Is that another super chat that just came in? Yeah, we've got a few of them here, guys. I'm trying to make sure I don't miss any super chats, and then I'll try and get some other videos. I'm sorry, some other stuff for you guys. Let's see. So Bobby, 220-mile range on, let's see, on which model, RT or Scat? I'm sorry, Bobby, I just saw your super chat, and on the Scat Pack. I think the RT's range is a little bit more than that, but like I said, I didn't even really experience the RT. I just went right for the Scat Pack. Aaron says this is where he posts his OnlyFans. Aaron, you're killing me, buddy. Nobody wants to see that, believe me. So, and Sovereign Knight dropped the link in there for the giveaway. Thank you, buddy, for doing that. I appreciate it. So if you guys want to go to Dream Giveaway, Sovereign Knight, just drop that link in there. Thank you again, buddy, for doing that. The Cadillac Lawyer. Does the chick in the black leather come with the Challengers? You can ask them, email them, tell them you want 4X entries. But go through, guys, figure out, if you want a chance to win some of that, Like I said, use my link, guys, because you'll get 4X entries. And I feel very blessed that they were willing to do that for me and my subscribers this year. And yeah, like I said, I was blown away when I saw that Ford GT, guys. I did that promo in one of my recent videos, but man, that car is cool. And the old school Mopars are just sick. If you're a Mopar guy, you cannot not enter to go win those cars. Like I can't. The one thing about those old cars is like when you drive around in those, you would almost get more attention in like an old Roadrunner. Keep in mind that car was almost 400 horsepower. Back, it was a 19, it's like a 1969 and a half. It wasn't even 1970, and that car made almost 400 horsepower. It was literally like one of the fastest cars on the road, and still sounds good to this day. Just man, the car is so nice. So anyway, if you're truly a Mopar guy, you got to at least throw a little bit of money down on those things because man, I really hope a true Mopar enthusiast wins those things because I saw when you see them in person and you just see how nice they are, how pristine, and these cars are how old now? Like, geez, like 50 something years old. They're amazing. So anyway, guys, enough on that. I will let's see. I'm looking at your comments now. What do you guys think about Tim Kuniskis coming back to Ram? I'm excited about it. I think they've got a new mid-sized truck. You guys saw my video on that. I'd be real interested to see if it's truly going to compete or beat like the Ranger Raptor. The Hurricane engines are more than capable of doing it. I feel like that's what's coming. And I feel like from a stance perspective, I feel like Tim's going to put his stamp on it and give us probably two different offerings, performance type offerings. I know that he's coming up with some performance stuff based on my conversations with him. I can't give you a lot more, but I would expect Ram to be doing some cool stuff here in the very near future. Plus, they're dropping prices like crazy on the Rams. Have you guys seen the deals they're giving out on the Gladiators right now? So many of you guys messaged me like, dude, I just bought a new Gladiator for like 40% off. Like just insane deals on the Gladiators right now. But the Rams, I feel like you're really gonna be able to start getting some solid deals on the Ram stuff. The Dodge stuff, I just don't know. I don't know what's coming. I'm going to talk a little bit about pricing tomorrow, guys. So we'll just wait on that. But I did want to kind of put that out there. Like I said, I almost beat Dodge, guys. And then the other thing is we're very close to having an administration change, as you guys know. And that is probably, if you're a performance enthusiast, there are all sorts of implications there in terms of when the new administration takes hold there in Washington. They're going to back out all sorts of stuff, and things are going to get really interesting here over the course of the next 6 months. If you're a car person, hang on, because I think we've got that going on. And then also, what do you guys think about? I'm going to start getting to a bunch of your comments now. I've finally got a few minutes. What do you guys think about the new Shelby GT350? 110 grand for a GT350, but it's not actually made by Ford. It's made by Shelby America, and it's got a Whipple on it. And I really like the look of the car. I think the car looks fantastic, but I'm not paying 110 grand for a Whippled 5.0 Mustang. That's my big issue with it. It's a cool car, though. I think it looks cool. 810 horsepower on the new Shelby GT350. But a lot of people are up in arms about the fact that, it doesn't have a Voodoo in it, which we knew wasn't going to happen. But it's not like a naturally aspirated flat plane crank, V8. Traditionally, the GT350 is a naturally aspirated car. So it was a little bit weird to see Ford work with Shelby America to throw just basically a Whipple on it, tune it up, put a few extra goodies on it. Really cool spoiler. I like the back deck on the thing. It's a cool looking car, but is it really worth 110 grand? That's, and that's kind of my issue with the GTD. The GTD is really freaking cool, but that's a $300,000 Mustang. It's very, performance-wise, really cool. It's a specialized track weapon. I get it. But 300 grand for a freaking Mustang. Good God. That is just, whew, that's nasty. And then, geez, there's some other cool, we saw the first ZR1. Did you guys see that Hendrick bought the first ZR1 for like I don't know what it was, $3.7 million or something. Whoo, guy's got some money. That new ZR1 is going to be a monster, but you will not be able to get your hands on it. I mean, they're going to be 200 plus. I mean, they say they base at 178, but with engine and seats in it and pedals, it's going to be 200 grand. And then that's before markup. So now we're in an era where you've got 200 and probably 50 to $300,000 Corvettes coming out. Now, granted, I mean, there's two ways to look at it. It's a Corvette, right? How can you have a $300,000 Corvette? Well, if it beats the living tar out of McLarens and Ferraris and Lambos, maybe it's worth that much money. That's how some people are going to look at it. Some other people are going to say it's a vet. But the technology in the new ZR1 with the twin turbos, 1,064 horsepower, car is wicked. I would love to have one, but homie doesn't have that kind of money. So anyway, guys, let's see here. Let me see what else we got here. Aaron says, have you talked to Tim since he's been back? Yes, I have. Has he said anything more about options in the incoming administration? So he acknowledged that Trump is a big Dodge fan. He would know. So Trump is a big Dodge fan. Trump is also a performance guy. I did not know that, but he is. And so other than that, we didn't talk a whole lot more about Trump. But that's why we're expecting to see some pretty big changes here in the first few months when he gets in office. Like it or not, it is what it is. But like I said, I'm not a political channel or anything like that, but I am a car enthusiast and I love me some horsepower and fast cars. So there's that. So let me see here. Plus markup and taxes says, no, agreed. Markup and taxes are what's going to kill everybody. Let me see here. That's all stuff I had on my list. Let's see here. Yeah, so I'm going to grab comments for a few minutes, guys. I'm so sorry I didn't get very many comments because I got on a huge tangent tonight, but I wanted to still 168 people on, 168 likes. How cool is that? I'd love to get to 200 tonight, guys, if we could do it. Thank you guys for all your super chats, by the way, as well. I think I got them all, but I want to grab some other comments here just to talk to a few more people that I haven't talked to. I'm going to backtrack a little bit. Once again, mods, thank you. I do see you guys had to time some folks out. Hopefully you don't have people in here being toxic. Guys, I don't understand some people sometimes. Like I said, my biggest takeaway, I hope you guys can take everything that I've said tonight with just take it for what it is. My advice for everybody is always to go try it out. Go try something new. Go, be an enthusiast. Go try something you've never tried before and see if you like it. Have an open, maybe you won't, but maybe you will. Like I said, there've been just a lot of cars that have surprised me. And then there have been other cars that I was completely underwhelmed that I expected to be better than they kind of were. And but that's the fun part about it. And that's the great thing about it. I mean, you can go lay eyes on these and sit in them, and sometimes they'll let you drive them, and that's how you figure out if you like them. But I really get pissed when I see all these people bad-mouthing a car that they've never seen in person, they've never sat in, they've never driven. I get it to a degree, it's different, and I acknowledge that. And it's not for everybody. I also acknowledge that. But for people to get mad that I don't just spell out hate about the car, guys, God, I just can't get over that. It's almost insulting because it's like, when people question your integrity and they're like, oh, no, you're being paid. Like, no, you're a sellout. Like, first off, no, I'm not. And Lord forbid I actually be honest and open about something. Like, it's my opinion. I feel like so many people just, like I said, I don't get why so many people are so negative. They just have to be negative about everything. Everything is a fire drill. Everything is, this car is a huge bag of ass. This car is this because of this. And I've never even driven it. I'm sorry, but you have no room to talk until you go actually drive it and see. I mean, it's like, no, I just hate it by default. Okay, fine. But that comment doesn't hold any water to me because you haven't driven it, you haven't experienced it. It's just how I feel. So, that's my biggest thing. And, there were an awful lot of people that, it's so funny because there were several people that I talked to them in person and they were like, no, I like this, I like this, I like this, and they're, I don't like this, I don't like that, and they were telling me stuff they liked and didn't like about the car, and then I watched their video, and they just bashed the car from the minute they got in it to the minute they got out of it, and talked about how bad it was and how this, and I'm like, really? What happened to, you like the suspension? What happened to, you like the way that the car, felt when you were going around a corner? What happened to, like, all the different stuff you told me? And it's like, no, because I have to be negative because that's what people expect. Well, guys, like I said, Demonology had the same take on it that I did. And, we're not overwhelmingly just like everybody should go out and buy this, but we're also not completely down on the car to the point where it's like, this thing is the worst car ever made, like so many people are saying. That's how I look at it. So anyway, what is the saw a super chat come through? Something about let's see. Did you get pics with Goldberg? So, I didn't get any pics with Goldberg. I've actually been friends with Goldberg for a while. A lot of people don't know that. Bill Goldberg and I are actually on the MagnaFlow team together, and we've been. I know a lot of these folks, like Richard Petty, Leah. I've known Leah for a long time. Um, TJ Hunt. I mean, we're all sponsored by MagnaFlow, so I know all these guys, and it's just even like I don't know. Doing YouTube is kind of weird because you do meet a lot of really cool people. Rutledge Wood, Kevin Hart. I mean, these are folks you meet because they're all car enthusiasts at the end of the day, and so it is kind of neat to be able to liaise with people like that. And but I didn't take any. To answer your question, I didn't take any new pictures with Bill. I mean, I have some pictures with him, but super cool guy. Matter of fact, Bill is supposed to be coming down here very. I can't give you a whole lot on this. He's supposed to be coming down to Florida here very soon to do kind of a cool event. So you never know. But we'll see. We'll see how that works out. But anyway, Bill Goldberg is a very cool guy and just such a car guy. We both own 170s. He's actually asked to have me out to his house in outside of San Antonio in Texas. He's got a really cool garage. He's working on some stuff for his show. Like he just guy's got a lot going on, but very cool guy, super cool to talk to. Most of the time, just like whenever you guys meet me, like if you guys have ever met me in person, I know some of you probably have. You see me at an event or the drag strip, whatever, and you guys actually come say hi to me, and it's like, dude, like you're just like I thought you would be, and I'm like, why wouldn't I be? I'm like, I'm a car guy, you're a car guy, like that's what we have in common. It's like, I have run into a few people that don't, they're not that nice, and you would think that they would be, and they kind of put on this persona for the camera. I'm not going to name any names or anything, but I'm just a car guy like you guys, and I'm very approachable. If you guys ever see me out in public, come up and say hi to me. We'll talk cars for a few minutes as long as I have time, and I love stuff like that. So, and Bill's very much the same way. I mean, he just cool as rain, and a lot of the people that I've met, we're all enthusiasts, just like you guys. And so that's part of what we all have in common. And once again, that's part of why I really kind of scratch my head sometimes about all the negativity that's out there, because like I don't hate really on anything. Like I said, I don't necessarily like the Cybertruck. I think it looks like a 3-year-old Drew, designed it. But you guys have never really heard me come out and bash it on a video or do anything like that because one, I've still never driven a Cybertruck, and two, some people really like it because it's different. There's a car out there for everybody. So anyway, let me grab some more. I get on these tangents tonight, guys. Thank you once again for all of your support. I'm going to stay on a little extra tonight because I still have 145 people. And we only need 20 more, Aaron? Oh, congrats on the win. Love it. Let's see here. 180 thumbs up, guys. We're almost at 200. I'd be so super stoked if we could get to 200 tonight. Let's see here. Let's see, Shelby Moe, state tax for Michigan for buying a car is like $6 grand. Well, yeah, I mean, it depends on how expensive the car is. It's a percentage, right? Oh, he says, congratulations. Oh, I see what he's saying. So yes, that's right, guys. My Ohio State Buckeyes won the national title. So Aaron is bringing that up. Thank you, Aaron, for reminding me. And I know some of you guys are Michigan guys. Sorry, guys, but Michigan did beat us this year somehow. I have no idea how, but because Ohio State clearly had the better. I mean, everybody knew Ohio State had the better team, but that's why they play the games. And but Ohio State still managed to win the national title. So good for my Buckeyes. That was super cool. Let's see here. Who else have I not heard from? Let me jump up just a little bit. The runner on second, 392, 3,500. It's weird doing this. Okay, anything on the six pack, says Brandon Spicer. So nothing new on the six pack. It's supposed to be out probably in the July timeframe. We'll see how that changes. They have talked a little bit about us. I don't know if we're going to do a drive event or anything like that. I'm intrigued by the six pack. I really am, especially if I was able to modify it. But, we'll just have to wait and see on that car. But they're talking about bringing it out in early Q2 now. So we may see it as soon as like May. But we'll just wait and see. I'll see if I can get some updates for you on the six pack. I've got a call in with a couple of Dodge folks on a couple other things I was going to ask them about. So if I can get anything else, I'll let you guys know about that maybe on the next one. Good question, Brandon. Thank you. Let's see here. Yeah, Dono says 110 for a Whippled 5.0. Exactly right. So Trump is going to set us free. Let me jump up a little more. I'm going to jump up actually. So let's see here. Everybody's been really good tonight, guys. I really appreciate it. Plaid versus ZR1. That'd be an interesting one. Now, the ZR1 won't be as fast as like the Demon 170. At the track. I don't think it will be. I think it will still be a 9-second car. I would put that thing probably in the 9.6 range, just because of how it's set up. It's not necessarily set up for drag racing, but that doesn't mean it won't still be really fast. So I think that car is going to be just wicked. The new ZR1 is going to be so cool. Like I said, I would love to have one, guys. I just don't. That's just out of my realm in terms of money. I'm honestly of the opinion that I may start doing cars that are a little more relatable, cars that don't cost quite as much money, because a lot of times those generate more views and more interest than stuff that I spend. Like my Demon's really expensive, and does it really generate the views and the engagement that maybe my Scat Pack did? My best videos, if you look at my channel, like I think 7 of my top 10 videos are on the RT. Who would have thought, right? Because I'm known as like a racer and high horsepower and all this other stuff. But for whatever reason, my RT videos do really well. So there's a relatability aspect to it. Let's see here. Fast cars and pop culture. Looks like you checked out a little bit ago. Who else we got here? BR says, RacerX, thanks for the live and the honesty perspective is important. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Let's see here. When can we see a Hemi in the Ram 1500 in the near future? You won't, guys. So one thing, I like this comment because I've talked about it, but I think a lot of people don't quite understand it. We still have 136 people on, so do we need 8 more to get to 200 thumbs up, guys? Almost there. So anyway, guys, don't expect a return of the Hemi. I know that's not what you want to hear. And the Hemi is kind of what made Dodge Dodge. If you ask most people what is the most iconic engine, when you think about Dodge, you think about Hemi, it's kind of one and the same, right? But the Hemi, it's kind of old school push rod technology, iron block, very smog inefficient. They make power, they make torque, which is one of the great things about it. And obviously that's a function of displacement as well. But guys, I would like to see them do a revised V8. I mean, that iron block is really heavy. The lifters, not ideal. From an oil pickup design, not great. And that's partly why you see lifter failure. There are so many upgrades that could be made. I would love to see more of a dual overhead cam setup. And use a lot more modern technology in a new V8 that's not a hemispherical head. Even the current like Hemi, what you consider to be a Hemi, isn't really a Hemi. It's not a true hemispherical head. It's kind of a semi-Hemi at best. And so, but they still call it a Hemi because that's what Dodge is synonymous with. I'm hoping it's not a Hemi. I'm hoping it's something that makes power in a little bit of a different way, but it's revised and it's better. And better in every way. And I feel like that is something that is being worked in the background. Now, when it will actually find its way into a production vehicle, It's going to be a while, guys. It's not happening in the next year. It's probably not happening in the next 2 years, based on my conversations with lots of folks. Um, it's not. But that doesn't mean it couldn't happen and it won't happen. But I'm really hoping that if and when it does, it's a new V8 that's better. It doesn't even have to be as much displacement. I've talked about it in the. I would love to see like a 5.3 that revs to the moon, that just sounds wicked. That's got a new cam profile, everything about it, different heads on it. That they have so much new technology that's just better. And as much as I love a Hemi, I love the way they sound. I love everything about the Hemi, but there are some shortcomings to that engine. That and there's room for improvement. We'll just put it that way, guys. So that's kind of how I feel about it. I mean, we've already made this big leap. Let's not go back to the archaic technology. Let's go forward and make it better. That's the way I look at it. Good question, guys. I really appreciate it. Let's see. Dave, Dodge was going, let's see, in the right direction. Their cars wouldn't be rotting on their lots. I have a 2016 Hellcat. Have no intention of getting another Dodge unless the culture changes. So that's kind of the way a lot of people are looking at it. But the culture, Dodge is changing. That's the thing. They're changing a lot, like right now. Just in the past, think about everything that's happened in Stellantis, in the Mopar brands, especially just in the last 3 months. There's been a lot of internal changing, but it takes time. That's the biggest thing. It takes time to kind of get the ship moving in a different direction. And, we've got some really good leaders coming back. Um, Bob for Jeep, good leader, car guy, works very closely with Tim. Obviously, Tim is back now. Matt is a car guy, and so now that the handcuffs are off a little bit, I'm hoping we see some different things. So we'll just wait and see, guys. I've been just pleading with Dodge, like, please bring us the Stealth or the Neon back, like something that's small and affordable and fun and darty and redesigned. Like, man, I could just see we need something for young people to get excited about, and it's not the Hornet. It's just not the segment. You know what I mean? Like I said, the Hornet is a nice car. It's not appealing to the young enthusiast. That's what we need. And I just feel like we're really missing the ball on that segment. That's my personal feeling on it. Let's see. I did see something else come in, guys. What else here? Getting a little bit tired. I got to be up into the office in the morning, guys. Let's see here. Who else have I missed? Got the magic tick. Let's see. Aaron says, let's see. I got a magical tick. I modded my 5.7. Any suggestions while torn apart? Depends on what you're going to do, Aaron. You can message me on IG if you have any individual questions. Those 5.7 cars can be a heck of a lot of fun. I don't know if you're going to build the engine, or they do have some limitations, certainly from a transmission perspective. You got to kind of be careful how much power you put into those, unless you plan on upgrading everything. And so it just depends on how far you want to take that build. But you can hit me up on IG if you want to talk about it more. But interesting. I'd be interested to hear where you go with it. So Greg saying, I think the 6.1 is the best Hemi. A lot of people do really like the 6.1 Hemi, and nothing wrong with that. Let's see. Gary, boom, 200. You're right. We got exactly 200. Thank you guys very much. We did it. Let's see. Have you raced all Teslas in your Challenger? No, all I've raced is the Plaid, which is like the bad daddy. And, obviously I'd like a rematch on that. It was the very first time I ever had that car out. And that's only a function of just having bad weather before leading up to that event. I just could not get the car out. So, and DA wasn't great. There were just some factors really working against me. So I'm hoping I can get it out, more seat time, understanding a lot more about the car, better air, lighter wheels. There's some things hopefully kind of leaning in my favor a little bit more this time to make it a little more fair. Because Brooks is a good driver. So, we'll see. Let's see. David Strickland, was that a typo? Let's see. Foz, I think the 6.4 is better. So everybody kind of has their thought on which Hemi is better. I'm going to go up all the way and see. I know that I missed a lot of comments here, guys. Let's see here. Michael Boyd has a good comment. He says, people in general have a problem with change. I like the EV, but but I am muscle car V. So that's how a lot of people feel. You know, it's they don't necessarily mind the EV, but they don't want to buy it. There's an awful lot of people that actually feel like that. But because the car gets so chastised, it's like a lot of people message me and they're like, I actually really like the new car, but you know, I'm not going to buy one because people make fun of me." And I'm like, well, screw them. You know, buy what you like. Um, you know, it's yours. You know, so anyway, it is an adjustment. Like I said, I'm probably not going to get one, but I mean, if Dodge was to call me up and say, "Hey, you know, we want to give you the car for 3 or 4 months, and then we'll come pick it up, go have fun with it." Homie's going to have that joker at the track. We're going to be doing all sorts of fun stuff with that car before they come pick it up. So anyway, there's that piece of it. Let's see here. What else? Who else have I missed here? Be safe, people. America muscle rules. I love that, says Perry. Let me grab just a couple more comments, guys. I'm way over tonight, but I haven't been on with you, and I just didn't get very many comments because I kind of got off on a lot of tangents. Eric, good evening. Let's see. Everyone in RacerX, Sovereign Knight. So just saying hi to everybody, says Eric. Let's see here. Who else have I missed comments from? We've got Michael saying Mopar 11, buy one and mod it. So I had a Mopar 10 on my channel. That was really cool, pro-charged, and you guys may have seen that video. That was actually a really neat, fun car to drive, a manual. It was just a really good car. Let's see here. Who else here? Aaron. So MJ, let's see here. Love you signing the hat, says MJ Hutt. I really appreciate that. Jonathan says, so there will be Daytona EV price cuts. Yes, there will. We're not going to go into it too much. Hector Alvarez says, thank you for the video. I appreciate you, Hector. Let me grab just a couple more. The Cadillac Lawyer. I like this one. Let's see. There is no Ford GT. Ford doesn't build that car. Well, it is called a Ford GT. But you're right. I mean, there are several people that have their hands in that car, but there's a Ford badge on it. So I guess I'm not real sure I understand that. It's yeah, a Shelby is still a Ford. It's got a Ford badge on it, as far as I'm concerned. That's how I look at it. So it just I guess it depends on how how you look at it. But anyway, let's see here. What else we got? Les says they'll lower the price if they want any hope of selling them. I think that's the plan. Let's see here. Congratulations on the new job, says Fast Cars and Pop Culture Fan. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. And let me see, maybe one more if I can find a good one here. Let's see. Ben says, "Have I already seen the Mustang GTD in person?" I have not. I have not seen it in person. I know that it's, I mean, it's a cool looking car for sure. Let's see here. Who else? I think there's anybody else I can see here. All right. Well, I think I'm going to go ahead and I think I've seen a lot of these comments already, guys. So I think I'm going to go ahead and call it a night. We got 127 folks on. It's been a long one. Over 200 likes, guys. Thank you very much. I just really wanted to get with you and talk about this whole Dodge experience. It is not what a lot of other people have led you to believe in terms of, like I said, Dodge purposely trying to pull the wool over our eyes with giving us a nice hotel and meals and all that kind of just no. I mean, that's what you do in an event like this. Like, like I said, you don't put people in the cellar and tell them that they have to ride around in a busted old Crown Vic, and that's just if you're gonna put on an event, you're gonna try to do it right. Doesn't mean anything in terms of the way people perceive or review the car, obviously. So, but like I said, I mean, I feel like Dodge knocked it out of the park. I told him that, and I really do. I feel like I feel so bad because the car gets so much hate, and I know how much work these guys put into the design, the exterior design, the interior design, everything about the car. Love it or not, these guys put their absolute heart and soul into it, and they did their very best, and they worked hard at it, man. And there's something commendable about that. So it is what it is. But anyway, guys, It's been a fun one. Getting tired. Got to go get up and go to the office in the morning. Thank you guys for sticking in here with me tonight. I really appreciate all your support and all the great comments. Mods, once again, you guys are amazing. Thank you for doing what you do to help keep my channel clean and running. And you guys know who you are, Sovereign Knight and Aaron, all you guys. Thank you guys again. Now I always have kind of a parting thought, and so I'll leave you guys with this because it's been something that's just been kind of on my mind a little bit. And I lost my mom a little over a year ago. Obviously, you guys, I may have showed you the tattoo, like on my, this whole thing was obviously dedicated to my mom. It's the only tattoo I have, but I had to honor her in some way. That's what I felt like, led to do. But time on this planet is not infinite, and every day we kind of have these. I don't know what you call it. Every day we kind of have these struggles, right? Where we get short tempered and we get frustrated with people, and people can be just downright inconsiderate and rude. And I catch myself sometimes getting upset. Ultimately, you have to kind of take a step back sometimes and remember what really matters. And what really matters is not necessarily the material things you have, which are fun to have. It's fun to take trips. It's fun to have nice things. But ultimately, it's really who you share it with. And, those people aren't always going to be around. It just is what it is. That's part of being human. It's part of being on this planet. And so don't take a single day for granted. Don't take your loved ones for granted. Do something nice for somebody because it might brighten their day. And I need to take some of my own advice as well. I feel like that's such an important thing to take with you is spread a little cheer. You'll be remembered not for the things you had, but for the things you did for others when you leave this planet. And as long as you remember it that way, try and spread some positivity, be a good influence. We'll all be better off for it. So anyway, guys, I hope you have a great evening. Thank you again for being so supportive and being part of my RacerX family. And I will catch you on the next one. So until then, RacerX.